Welcome to Mage's Domain with Red Barn's Local Culture.
So, I know I'm a bit late to the party, but Pokemon Presents did a thing a few weeks ago. You know, times are good right now. We're at a point to where Mage Pokemon can compete with Meta to an extent, and there's such a variety of Pokemon to choose from. Single parts Pokemon can run rampant, and the four pillars of Meta live in harmony with each other. VMAX is gone, V-Star will be gone, and, oh my gosh, Lost Box will be gone. Sorry, I got a little excited. But what I'm saying is, we're at the point in TCG where the game is essentially in its best state. Sure, Charizard still draws breath, and Dragapult is right behind him. Well, despite not being able to draw breath because he's freaking dead. But despite the outliers, there's potential for the TCG to become, dare I say, balanced again. At least I thought so, and then BAM! Nah, buddy, Mega Evolutions are back! We out here doing bad stuff, brother. You wanted to play mid decks? Nah, brother, we eat mid for breakfast. I plan that you guys should get Pokemon to watch on TV. Yeah, I'm a stage 1 who can watch on other stage 1s with barely any setup. Old school? Whack. Spoken EX? Whack. Cerulege? Mega whack. Who's watching Cerulege, bro? Basically what I'm saying is, we were this close to being the perfect game. And it will be until CA comes out and then Mega start to take hold. Power creep is definitely a thing, whether it's a card game, long-running game, or gacha game in general. So ultimately, it's something we all need to brace for in the long run. That being said, Megas are cool, so let's talk about them. There were two Mega Pokemon that were revealed from the Pokemon Presents, Mega Lucario and Mega Gardevoir. Lucario on the surface is a pretty average Stage 2 with 340 HP, 2 attacks, and... Wait, it's not a Stage 2? He just evolved from Riolu? Okay, so... It's coming to my attention that Megas don't evolve from their original counterparts anymore. They evolve from their normal versions pre-evolutions, which means Lucario has Torterra's HP as a Stage 1. Ugh, wow, okay, so that changes things a little, but, yeesh, where do I go from here? Here's what I can talk about. Before I actually get into these cards, I should re-go over the concept of Megas as a whole in the TCG. In case you live under a rock or are just new to the series as a whole, Mega Evolution is a mechanic introduced in Pokemon X and Y where certain Pokemon can reach a brand new stage of evolution, similar to Gigantamaxing. Good lord, Maxing became such a faux-pas term nowadays. But instead of turning into full-on kaiju, the majority of Mega Evolutions get a really cool alternate form that massively busts their stats towards whatever they were good at from the get-go. Some get additional typings or have their type changed as well. Similarly to the games, the X and Y phase of the TCG also had Mega Evolutions, but back then, because of their awesome might, they had a few drawbacks. The first one being unless you had a specific Pokemon tool, Mega Evolution ended a turn. Mega cards also only really had one attack, and a lot of them tend to be high investment, like we're talking 3 to 5 energy minimum. But also at the time, their HP was pretty low for modern standards. And honestly, that really goes to show just how much the card game crept itself in the past 3 iterations. Like, though to be fair, each iteration was like almost 5 years apart from each other. Heck, Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet were 3 years apart, and 3 years is a long time for the game to stay the way it is. It's been another 3 since Scarlet and Violet came out, and I've been a hater ever since. But I digress. I myself have only been in the TCG space for about 2 years now, and even I'm noticing a huge leap in things. But speaking of leaps and bounds, let's talk about the boundless power of modern Megas. Megas as they are introduced nowadays are basically treated as VMAX Pokemon. They evolve from their bases like any other, have massive HP, and from what these two look like, are pretty good attackers. They do have a major drawback though. They get KO'd like a VMAX, you lose 3 prize cards instead of the usual 2. Which is pretty big on its own, especially when weakness can still one-shot them, which is crazy when you realize Lucario is weak to Gardevoir. That man really can't have anything, huh? On the surface, it's a really cool mechanic. It's pretty staggering now because they're brand new and there's only 2 that we know about, but so long as you don't have any Mew Genesect type decks on the horizon, I don't think that'll be terrible. But I think the ease of access needs to be adjusted. The main issue I have with Megas right now is that it could potentially power creep everything we have in Scarlet and Violet. Meaning people who just want to play their faves might have an even harder time unless they just happen to build a Pokemon weak to a Mega. They're not unbeatable without weakness, but it'll definitely be difficult. Doom and Gloom out of the way, despite it all, I'm excited to see Megas come back into the TCG space. I wish they were handled differently, but I'm most looking forward to the kinds of chance I can come up with when I Mega Evolve a particular Pokemon. While we're on particulars, let's talk about the Copperajah in the room, Mega Lucario. Never mind the fact that he has record-breaking HP, not even for a Stage 1, but for most Stage 2s barring Torterra and Slacking. His attacks are very low investment and can basically set himself up just as easy. Our man finally got a good card and it's actually amazing. Mega Lucario EX is a fighting type DPS who has 340 HP and has 2 attacks. The first attack requires a fighting type energy, does 130 damage, and can attach 3 fighting energy from the discard to your Pokemon in any way you like. Basically Temporal Garchomp EX, but instead of Sonic Dive, her second attack does 270 damage with the drawback of not being able to use that attack next turn and requires 2 energy to use. I don't think I need to tell you that this little investment for such raw strength is insane. Especially since Pokemon like Skeletors have that strength, but have to be at max health, and is also a stage 2. Now, you're probably wondering, why is there an image of a mole on my screen? Because, kiddo, since Megos are notable, might as well see what we can do to make them as cool as can be. Also, Drover is probably a best in slot for him, since putting him on the bench immediately means you can discard 3 energy from the deck. And you can link that with his first attack and just consistently set up other Lucario or whatever backup attackers like Single Prize or Saluna and the like. You could also run him with Terra Garchomp EX for even more funneling and sniping, and because Garchomp has free retreat, to make it even easier to loop between attacks, plus it can't hurt the Sonic Dive once in a while either. Like a deck I have for Garchomp, which I might do later, you could also run Koraidon EX a bit kind with him because funneling that kind of energy around will make both wild impact of whichever attack the Dragon EX has to apply itself faster. Do bear in mind that the Dragon requires a fire energy as well, so it can be a bit tricky to set him up. Blood Moon or Saluna EX could attack much sooner if you wanted to run him as a main attacker, though this high retreat cost might be an issue long term. The first attack can enable Codestone Orgapon as well, and while it's not the most damaging attack, a Brick Wall is always nice to have. There's honestly a ton of single price fighting Pokemon with mid to high investment attacks that this can benefit from. Favoring single price Pokemon can help offset the cost of playing such a powerful Pokemon too. And in case you felt like Mega Lucario wasn't strong enough for whatever reason, there is also a best in slot item that boosts the damage of fighting type Pokemon that's stackable. This, along with Black Belt supporters and strength buffing bands, this Pokemon could potentially have the biggest power spike in the current rotation. Not to mention the fact that this Pokemon could be T-Volt at will. Though I guess Gardevoir can be Rare Candy, Great Treat into. Good lord, this could potentially get nice. There's so much more could go into about a potential deck build, but until everything comes out for it, I'll just leave it at Poke Partners. I'll save the guide brain for whenever a Mega I like comes out. Now, on the topic of Gardevoir. Good lord, Guardy Gang stay winning. Never mind the fact that she has 360 HP, which is record-breaking for a Stage 2 Pokemon. Let's talk about the fact that both of her attacks cost 1 energy and play into each other amazingly well, to the point to where the only thing stopping you from spamming her potential nuke with a second attack is the fact that she needs her bench overloaded with energy to do it. So her first attack makes you search for an energy for each of your bench Pokemon and put 1 energy on each of your bench Pokemon. So already her energy setup is better than Lucario. Her second attack does 50 damage times the number of energy on all your Pokemon, which includes her. And you want to know what I think her best supporting Pokemon is going to be? Herself. This woman's normal EX can funnel energy from her discard onto Pokemon. So if any of them get knocked out, or you just feel like discarding energy for the fun of it, regular Gardevoir EX and just willy-nilly slap them onto whatever. Not to mention the likes of Xatu and Blaziken EX, Power Glass, and so much more nonsense. Basically what I'm saying is, if you can slap a Mega Gardevoir into a regular Gardevoir EX deck, it would probably buff it. Oh! Let's not forget the likes of Terra Mewtwo EX, to where he also gets bonus damage for every energy on his bench, so your backup attacker is likely packing the same amount of heat. And the litany of wacky psychic single price Pokemon Gardevoir has in our arsenal, actually the more I think about it, I think single price Pokemon might be back. If they wanted to make a good first impression, good lord did they. As game breaking as they potentially are, I'm super excited to see what cool gimmicks they come up with. We'll have to wait and see how this truly affects the game space as a whole, but overall it'll be interesting to at the very least spectate how everything is. It's unclear if they're all going to have the same energy funneling mechanic, but if they do, I'm looking forward to more single prizes time in the limelight. This has been Hector from Kid Icarus Plays. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what megas you're hoping for, or what to see in the TCG, or in CA as a whole. Also, please release Mega Blastoise so I can keep using Blastoise in current format. Also, I'll be working on a Luxray guide as well as finishing up the Sewerage guide. Please watch them when they come out.